and speak to his
roll
fans?
down the window, stick his hand out sometimes. Just anything to show his fans that he loved them.
And going specifically to the last week of his life, do you recall the rehearsals occurring at the Staples Center?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. And would there be fans at the Staples Center out exterior location as well?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, there were.
And I assume that was true for both the Forum and center staging?
Yeah, especially the Forum and center staging.
Okay. And as a general routine, when you would take Michael Jackson to these rehearsals at the 3 locations you've mentioned, what would you do as the rehearsals were taking place?
I was an employee, but I was a fan first, so I would try to sneak and watch him, see what I can see, and that's what I usually did. But he would always have me getting something, making sure his room was okay, doing calls for the next day. So I was constantly working, but I was able to see him perform a little bit at the Staples Center.
Okay. And talking about, again, the general routine that was followed, you indicated that, and I'm going to focus specifically on the routine for rehearsals.
Mm-hmm.
So you would take Mr. Jackson to rehearsals in the manner you described.
Yes, sir.
You would remain at the rehearsals. Is that correct?
Unless I was gone.
Unless you had some other
Yes,
tasks.
sir.
And then for the return home following rehearsals, would it be the same routine with the 2 vehicles and the basic same seating arrangement?
Yes, sir. A vehicle will go in advance, let us know there's fans out there, and they would post up to make sure we still can get in safe, even though there were fans, just to have security there. And then Mr. Jackson, the principal's car, then the trail car, we would stop, greet the fans. They would usually give gifts or stuff to sign. So we made sure we stopped for that. Then we would proceed to go to his home.
Okay. To 100 North Carrollwood?
To 100 North Carrollwood.
Okay. And what would be the general routine once you pulled onto the property at 100 North Carrollwood?
Well, usually the same fans beat us there, and they'll be right out there to do more greetings and more
When you said
stuff.
the same fan, you mean the fans that were
The fans that were at Staples Center would usually beat us back to the house and get out the car and wait.
So you would leave Staples Center and see fans outside?
The same exact ones.
And then they would presumably get in their car and beat you home?
They
and
would
be
beat
out?
us there, yes, sir. And we did the same thing. We stopped, we greeted them. His fans are great, so it wasn't a problem. But once they would sometimes give gifts, so we'll stop, collect everything, then he would go inside.
And when you collect everything and go inside, would that be the area you've identified in people's aid, this kind of front entry or front foyer area of the house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you carried gifts or any items inside, was there an area where you would leave them when you entered the home?
Yes, sir. We would walk in and we would leave the gifts on the first 2 steps. We would leave whatever material we had, clothes. We would leave it there.
And for the record, you've indicated the base of the stairs on the first floor with the stairs that you've identified on the left of the photograph?
Correct. As soon as you walk in, the stairs to your left, we would Mr. Jackson we would usually walk him in. We would stop there, load everything, and he would say some kind words, thank you, love, all the kind things that he say. We'll leave everything there, and then we'll exit the home.
Okay. And so as part of your normal practice, is it accurate to say you would not go upstairs?
Yes, sir.
That is accurate?
I would not go upstairs, correct.
And as far as your knowledge as a personal assistant of Michael Jackson, was that kind of a rule across the board unless invited upstairs?
Correct. He liked his privacy, and we respected that. So unless security rarely went upstairs, if ever. Maybe to carry something large, they didn't go upstairs. I went upstairs when asked. He may ask me to help set something up.
He's embarking on a narrative. I'm sorry. He's embarking on a narrative. All right. The answer remains. The objection sustained.
So you would go.
Question.
Thank you, Your Honor. You would go upstairs when asked specifically.
Correct. When asked specifically.
And that was rare?
It wasn't rare.
Okay. And then security would go up very rarely.
Yeah, it's rare for security. Yes,
And
sir.
you indicated that was if they had to move some furniture or something of that
Yes,
nature?
sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Williams, do you know Conrad Murray?
Yes, sir.
Do you see him in court here today?
Yes, sir, I do.
Could you please identify him for the record?
A gentleman sitting with the gray suit.
Indicating Dr. Murray, the defendant.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Sir, when did you first meet Dr. Murray?
I believe sometime in 2008.
And where were you when you first met Dr. Murray?
To the best of my knowledge, Las Vegas.
Well, let me ask you, what period of time in 2008 do you recall?
I don't recall. I remember in 2007 seeing him, but I don't remember ever formally meeting him until 2008. Maybe
Okay.
late 2007, but it's safer for me to say 2008.
Okay, but you had seen him previously.
Correct.
Okay, so let me ask you that. When did you first see Dr. Murray?
He had come to visit the house one day, and I wasn't introduced, or I just seen a tall gentleman who I was told is Dr. Murray, but it was no formal introduction.
Which house was that?
This was a house in Vegas. It wasn't. I don't know the address, but I'm not sure what the address was. It was in
Okay.
Vegas, though.
Was Michael Jackson living in Las Vegas at that time?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Before Virginia.
Okay. So sometime in 2007, while Michael was living in Las Vegas,
Correct.
you saw Conrad Murray.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, and that was at Michael Jackson's house.
Correct.
Okay.
McNeil.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And at that first encounter, you indicated you were not introduced to him, but you were aware he was Michael Jackson's doctor, or he was a doctor.
Yes, sir. I seen him, and it was nothing formal at all.
Okay.
That's his doctor.
And then at some point, I guess in early 2008, he was introduced to you as Michael Jackson's doctor?
And I can't recall if I was introduced, but I started calling him. Mr. Jackson requested me to call Dr. Murray. The children have a code, or he would help with anything as far as if they were ill, if the children were ill, or if he hurt or something.
Okay. So you would telephone him at the request of Michael Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And again, this is while living in Las Vegas?
Correct.
Now, in the months preceding June 25th, 2009, specifically, let's April, May, and June, that time frame, would you see Conrad Murray at the 100 North Carrollwood location?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And would that be frequently at that time?
In those months, it was frequently.
Would that typically be Conrad Murray coming in the nighttime and staying the night?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you, during that time period, become familiar with the vehicle used by Conrad Murray?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have two photographs of a BMW parked at 100 North Carrollwood. May these be marked People's 10 and 11, respectively?
Yes.
Mr. Williams, do you see the photograph depicted in People's 10?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is that Dr. Murray's convertible BMW parked in the driveway of 100 North Carrollwood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As well as People's 11 from a different vantage point?
Yes, sir.
And during this time period then of April, May, and June, when you would return from rehearsals in the evening, was it common to see Conrad Murray's BMW parked in the driveway as it's shown in People's 10 and 11?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was it common to see the same vehicle parked there in the morning?
It wasn't uncommon.
Would you have dealings with Conrad Murray during this time period of April, May, and June while Michael lived at 100 North Carrollwood?
Yes, sir.
And what would those dealings involve?
The request of Mr. Jackson asked me to reach out for him. Mr. Jackson had his own cell phone, but didn't use it sometimes or would want me to try to get in contact with someone. So
Okay.
usually by request.
Now, the rehearsals that were taking place at the Forum and then at the very end at Staples Center, what time would you generally leave to go to those rehearsals?
I'd say maybe late afternoon.
Okay. And what time would you generally, and I know they must have varied, but what time would you generally bring Mr. Jackson home from the rehearsals?
Evening, I would say it was dark.
Okay, when it was dark?
Yes, when it was dark.
Okay.
So,
And the time could vary?
the time.
Now, was there a procedure that you were personally involved in whereby you would, upon completion of rehearsals, call Conrad Murray to make sure he was either at the house or on his way to the house?
It wasn't uncommon. It was common for Mr. Jackson to either call him himself or ask me to call him and pass the phone back or just find out if he's at the house.
Okay.